If you have OCD and you're not sure how the principle of acceptance fits into your situation, then this episode of The Anxious Truth is for you. Many people with OCD struggle with the idea of acceptance and how to apply it in that particular context because they see people with panic disorder or agoraphobia or health anxiety or other anxiety disorders who have to accept the presence of very specific things that are often physical in nature or situational in nature. And for somebody with OCD, they may find, I'm not sure exactly how this applies to me. How do I accept in OCD? And if this is your situation and this is confusing you, then give us about 30 minutes today, and we're going to try to help you understand that a little bit more. I am Drew Linsalata, creator and host of The Anxious Truth. I am a therapist that specializes in the treatment of anxiety and anxiety disorders, practicing in New York in the US of A. I am a former sufferer of the things we talk about on this podcast. I'm a 4-time author on the topic of anxiety and anxiety recoveries. I am a social media guy, psychoeducator, mental health advocate, guy with too many expensive cameras and microphones, as you can clearly see. And today I'm joined by my friends Joanna, Hardis, and Rosen, two excellent, experienced OCD specialists practicing in Ohio and California, respectively. And we're going to take about 30 minutes to have a little chat about how acceptance fits into the context of OCD treatment, and recovery from OCD. Now, before we get into that, just a very quick reminder that The Anxious Truth is more than just this video or this podcast episode. If you go to my website at theanxioustruth.com, you're going to find all the other goodies, most of which are free. All the other podcast episodes and videos, my social media links, very, very low-cost workshops that I have put out there over the years that are psychoeducational in nature and are designed to help people understand the principles and constructs of anxiety and anxiety disorders. The books that I've written on this topic, it's all there. You'll also find a link to Disordered, which is a podcast I do every Friday with my friend Josh Fletcher, who's an anxiety therapist in the UK. And if you would like to hear a little bit more about what you are hearing today or watching today on The Anxious Truth, or what you hear and see on Disordered, you want to interact with me and Josh and other people who are sharing your experience living through what you're living through, you can check out the Disordered community space, which you'll find again on the website at disordered.fm. It is not required. We're not gatekeeping any secrets. It is not a cult. It is not us promising that we are going to fix you. It is just a way to talk about these concepts in a little greater detail, maybe interact with Josh and I a little bit more deeply, and interact with people who are sharing the very same experience in a very supportive environment. So check that out at disordered.fm if you are so inclined. Again, not required. If all you do is listen to this podcast episode or watch this video, well, I appreciate you just as much as anybody else. Thank you so much for supporting the work that I do. So let's get Lauren and Joanna involved. We're going to talk about acceptance and OCD, specifically, where does acceptance fit in the context of OCD treatment, and OCD recovery? It's a pretty good conversation. I think you're going to dig it. So stay for the end. I'll come back and wrap it up. Let's go. Okay, as promised, what we have here is the other 2/3 of the mindfulness cabal. We have declared ourselves a cabal, just so you guys know.
Whatever that is. I couldn't
Yeah.
even tell you what that was.
Anyway, for those of you, I don't know how you wouldn't, if you're following along with me, not know these two people, but we have Joanna Hardis, Joanna Wave, so they know which one is you, and Rosen, clearly. Clearly. And Lauren and Joanna, as I mentioned, are OCD specialists, anxiety and OCD specialists in Cleveland and LA, respectively, and two people I am thrilled to work with all the time. And there is a lot of misunderstanding, or at least confusion, when people like us talk about acceptance. When people are struggling with OCD, I often get asked, yeah, but I don't have panic attacks. I don't have to accept racing heart and all that stuff. Like, what am I accepting? Where the hell does it fit in with me? Like, don't leave me out. And good question, right? Like, so you guys are in the OCD
Yeah.
game full time. Spit it out. Where do you think acceptance fits in OCD treatment?
All over the place.
Okay.
I'll start with just an offering that I think when it comes to acceptance in OCD, we can look at two parts of the puzzle. And I mean, it's true that you would accept this with panic as well, but there's the acceptance of uncertainty that is important, and also the acceptance of the internal experiences that you're having, the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, even if those emotional states are not quite as aggressive as panic, right? Like they may not be quite as I don't know, there's something very jarring and like in your face about panic, like the feelings that come with it. So anyway, the like initial thought on that, happy to dig in, but also like want to defer to you.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think in terms of OCD, I think you said it really beautifully. I think with OCD, where, I think it comes up a lot is we have to accept that there can be really distressing thoughts, the presence of thoughts, the presence of images, the presence of things that we don't like are taking up space in our heads. That doesn't mean we agree with the content, but we have to accept that there are thoughts in our head, that we have experiences in our body, which Lauren was talking about with our internal experience. So there's acceptance of that, because I think so often it's that resistance to that causes the suffering, and that's why people engage in rituals
Right.
Mm.
to try to get rid of that. It's to try to get rid of that internal experience.
I think one thing that might be interesting is, and Lauren, you started comparing it to sort of panic. Now, panic is more jarring, or it's more in the moment. Is the difference really almost temporal? In the panic situation, the danger is almost like a present now danger, where in many
Mm.
instances in OCD, it's not a present, like I'm about to explode. I might feel like I am, but that's not really the problem. The problem is the meaning of this feeling and what it might mean about my past or my future, as opposed to what's happening right now. I'm having a stroke or a heart attack.
Yeah, I mean it can be, but I also think it can be very present as well, right? Like if somebody um who like when somebody is triggered, especially if let's say they have harm OCD, right? Like the intensity of that, right? Like, oh my gosh, I think I just ran over somebody, or I what if I'm about to grab that knife and cut somebody's throat? I think that can, and the intensity of the emotions there can be just as much too. I think where people maybe get like, and I imagine that when that's the case though, that people usually can say like, oh yeah, I can see what I need to accept here, because it has more of a panic flavor to it, right? Like there's like the emotion is clearer versus maybe less so in other instances.
That makes sense. Joanna, it looked like you had something.
I mean, I think in some degree, like like discomfort is discomfort. The intensity. I think with OCD, I heard someone, and I can't remember who, but that OCD can be resolved. It was an ICD-CBT therapist say, I think it was Bronwyn Schroyer,
Mm.
um, say, in many cases, OCD can be resolved if we get in touch with with our senses in the present moment,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which I think is what we're getting at. But I think discomfort is discomfort. Intensity is intensity, and we have to accept whatever you have to accept in the present moment. Like it's still accepting the presence of that in this moment.
Mm.
100% agreed. I think the reason to like for clarification that I was speaking to degrees is I think that sometimes I hang up for people, right? Like that they're like, I don't know. And I've had people be like, well, I'm not feeling the emotion in my body, because it's not quite so obvious like where the emotion is living, and it's a little bit
Sure.
more nuanced, and it might require a little bit more attention to be like, oh, that's what I'm avoiding.
Yeah,
But
sure.
you're absolutely agreed 100% with what you said.
The acceptance of the, we don't really care that much about content, of course, but it does matter because the content sometimes presents the obstacle to the acceptance. Right? Like Joanna, you said before, like you have to accept the fact that I might be having thoughts that disturb me. Doesn't mean I have to agree with them or say
Yeah,
that I like
right.
them. And sometimes I think people get confused there, especially in an OCD scenario where, like, what kind of person would even have a thought or an image like that? I can't, I can't accept that. That's how can I accept that? So how do we respond to that sort of, because you hear that objection all the time.
Sure. We're accepting the presence of that thought in your head versus agreeing with the content. Or you don't have to like it either.
And then the
But
concern would be though, yeah, but I'm having the thought, and I must be having it for a reason, right? Do you guys hear that? Don't I have this thought?
Or what if I'm
yeah,
having it for a
sure.
reason, which of course invites the whole like I
Right.
got to figure this out.
Right. Sure.
And I think that right, uncertainty plays a role
Yeah,
at that point. Like go ahead though, Joanna, you
No,
had
go
something.
ahead. No, 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 no.
I think that that's, and again, you have to do it with panic too. Like I can't know with 100% certainty whether or not this is a panic attack, right? Like this might be the time where my heart's actually like I'm having a heart attack.
sure.
The same thing applies when we're looking at OCD is like I cannot be 100% sure of anything, including the relevance of these thoughts and feelings that I'm having. Um like is required, otherwise you're going to keep trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I could hear dozens of ICBT therapists losing it right now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because of that
that's
whole like,
fair.
well, and I'm not arguing one way or the other, but like the accept. Are you telling me that I have to accept that I cannot be 100% sure that this thought doesn't make me an adulterer or a sinner or a pedophile or something along those natures? And I know that's where the ICBT crowd will usually say, like, that's not fair. You can't tell somebody to accept uncertainty that they might be horrible, but that becomes part of the objection too. I'm not arguing in
Oh
favor or
yeah,
against here. It's just,
totally.
yeah, I don't know how you guys would respond to that sort of thing. How do I accept that's crazy? Accept the possibility that this thought means I actually am like having an affair that I don't know I'm having.
Well, I think what I see, and I can't speak, all I can speak to is what I see a lot and what I've experienced in my own head is sometimes what notice in clients is a belief that if they accept it, like somehow that makes it like 50% chance.
Right.
And it's not like that. I mean, it could still be like 0.0000001%. Just because you're accepting the presence of something doesn't mean it makes it more likely. It's that possible versus probable,
Yes.
which is which again, like we can spend so much time trying to argue with the nitty gritty, but like, I also find it really helpful. Like, is this something that's really worth my time and attention to invest in? Like, is it worth my time and attention to try to figure this out?
Right.
Whether or not I'm going to be an adulterer. Like, there's nothing in my present moment awareness that speaks to that I want to engage in any kind of infidelity. So it's kind of irrelevant to me. So like, let me keep moving.
Mm,
Right. Even though the anxiety is really
Yeah.
intense around it, and
Right.
like
Yeah.
and it seems really scary to drop this, that like all if I look around rationally there's nothing compelling telling me like I couldn't convince a jury of my peers that the only thing that this means is that I am clearly an adulterer, right?
Right.
Um and I like me engaging with that thought doesn't get me closer to the life I want to live or the person that I want to be. um it's not helpful to me in any sort of meaningful way, so I'm like I'm gonna drop it. But I do think you're absolutely right. It's like the probability possibility thing, and which is where cognitive therapy actually does have some utility when we look at OCD, right? It's like
Mhm.
initially, as long as you're not repetitively going back over the same information again and again to reassure
Yeah.
yourself, like going like, okay, what are the odds here? The like high, low, like, and if it's low, it's like, well, there are uncertainties that we all live with constantly, and it's a function of awareness, right? Like we are now aware of this uncertainty, and we have the sense of responsibility around resolving this uncertainty. But there are all sorts of things all the time, like, every time you get in a car, you accept the possibility that you might get into an accident. A lot of people, even with OCD, aren't thinking about that. The
they
acceptance of
are
uncertainty
now.
is,
Just saying.
well, yeah, you're welcome. And I like, look, I'm not trying to be triggering here, but like understanding the reality that like there is just there's so much in life that we cannot know.
Mm,
um yeah, I'm with you. I think it's a languaging thing, like kind of what Joanna was saying. It's like some people are going to understand it better in this language, or some people are going to understand it better in that. And like from my vantage point, maybe it's like philosophical, like uncertainty is our birthright.
That's a you two thing.
Joanna's not on board with that. It's a Pema Chodron thing, in fairness. Like, I did
Yeah,
not come up
it
with
is.
that.
Like, I totally get it, but that's like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. So
yeah.
I find that in OCD, it's one of the and they all sort of meld together sometimes, but OCD is the one presentation to me that will continue on GAD, by the way, health anxiety. Okay, maybe three. I forget everything I just said, but that will argue the disorder will argue that it's not a disorder. So I find that sometimes acceptance in OCD is like, can you accept that you are here because you have obsessive compulsive disorder? So every time it wants to argue that it's keeping you moral or on the straight and narrow or safe or preventing you from doing terrible things or keeping your family safe, that's OCD trying to insist that it's not OCD, but you have to accept that that is in fact OCD. Like where does that part? You guys ever run into that? Like, no,
Oh,
like 6 weeks into therapy, I'm going to tell you that, yeah, but you know what? I had a thought. What if this is just me trying to be clean? I'm just trying to be clean. Right.
right.
Yeah. So like,
Or
Yeah.
what if this is all like an elaborate way of me getting out of being responsible? Or, yeah, I mean, yes.
yeah.
Hmm.
So how do then you actually have to even accept that this is in fact a problem that you came here to solve to begin with.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's an awkward silence.
Well, no, I
Mhm.
actually like I mean it's best guess, right? Like you kind of have to, and that sounds especially to people I think with anxiety like somehow irresponsible or flippant. But the reality is we only ever have our best guess about whether or not something is something, and if you're in front of a therapist who's telling you, "Hey, I've diagnosed you with OCD." Um and we're looking at this rationally together and it seems to be not based on anything, then maybe we take the risk, maybe we commit to it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a place where therapists can get really trapped in co-rumination.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're probably right. If I have to accept the fact that I actually have OCD and that's what this thing is called, and I am going to try to challenge it to overcome it and leave it behind, like I feel like I'm taking a risk. Same thing, right? What if it's too risky? What if it's actually not OCD and it's the right thing? So that's the barrier to acceptance there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's implied in that too is that like it's tricky because that statement is usually just the same theme in a with a slightly different outfit on. It's like it's saying, yeah, but what if my thoughts really do mean something? So like we've said, like, okay, thoughts don't inherently mean anything, and everyone's like, yay, that's great. And it's like, okay, but they could. These ones could mean something. How do I know? Right. And so understanding that it's just the same theme. It's still saying like, but this thing that I'm afraid of could still happen. And it's like, yeah, okay, but like again, we don't know for sure. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Or have I gone off the path here?
No, I think it makes sense. Like, the fail or the difficulty in accepting that you do have OCD and you're trying to get it treated is just the OCD, just a theme showing up in a
Yeah.
sneakier way, right? Maybe this isn't even
Yeah.
OCD to begin with.
Because I think I don't think we can ever say thoughts don't. I mean, it's like we can't say anything is all or nothing. Thoughts never mean anything. I think that's where it's tricky for anybody.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
So here,
And
there it becomes the acceptance that a thought, whether it's meaningful or not, is in fact it is in fact a thought. We can start there. No,
correct.
yeah. So
Yes.
then we
Yes.
get to decide whether we think it should have meaning or deserves action or not.
Exactly. Exactly.
Absolutely. And that's where mindfulness becomes, as we all three believe, so crucial.
This is why we're involved.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Why for better or worse.
Yeah.
Um yeah. Yeah.
Right. And they're less trustworthy as our emotional intensity dials up.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, that's a good point too. That's an obstacle to acceptance. Like, but it feels. I mean, you guys are hearing this every day,
Yeah.
but
Right.
it feels so convincing and so real because of the emotional intensity. Yes.
Right. I think that that's where, but I hate seeing on social media, like, don't trust your thought. Like, sure, you can't trust everything in your head, but
Right.
we can't say thoughts are never true. It's just that, like,
Right.
when the emotional intensity goes up, yeah, that's when you shouldn't trust. That's when we have to be more of an observer, and 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 be that's when we're more likely to see everything as a threat, everything as get tunnel vision,
Hmm.
and so be have more discernment before reacting,
Hmm.
Right.
or
Or
that.
take pause. Yeah, like
Yeah, right.
maybe like come back to this at a later moment when the intensity
Yes,
has died down, and
yes.
whatever's going to help you make a more deliberate choice in how to
Right.
respond.
Right. And accept that, like, yes, it's there. Yes, I have an urge to do a ritual that may not be in my best interest. Let me, like you said, like, pause so I can choose to respond to the situation, which may be to allow the discomfort.
Hmm.
Right, oftentimes, especially within the themes where you see it coming up a lot. But it's like a fair point. I think we see this a lot on social media of like, well, it's just an OCD thought. So you can just like, and it honestly kind of drives me
Hmm.
nuts because it is so black and white. And if you look at somebody with, for instance, relationship OCD, right? Like the likelihood is that within that, well, not likelihood, sometimes there are people who have genuine relational challenges or concerns that then become a point of fixation. And then people try to resolve them by means that they can't be resolved, like trying to like figure out in their minds whether or not their partner is good or bad, which is like good luck. None of us are good or bad. We're both. So, like that's not the answer. So, but anyway, my point is the point, Walter, is that um I think we when it comes to sorry, yeah,
Joanna shaking her head was worth $1,000,000. Those of you not watching the video, she's not
it's
liking
a
the Lebowski
it's a
references.
it's a big Lebowski reference for
I
those
knew
of
what it
you.
It's
was.
like, why do I hang around with these two? I can see it in your face.
Like
No, I just
Emma
am not part of
Yeah.
Children.
that cabal.
Anyway, the point
Well, we
is,
keep trying to invite you to the cabal, but the point, Walter,
yeah.
what was the point? Is that um there there isn't thoughts can be helpful and can be unhelpful, right? They can give us information that is relevant or not so much. And to be honest, just like feelings
Hmm.
can, right? They can say, like, hey, look over here. And if you look over there and it's like, oh, there's nothing going on over there, probably don't need to respond. But sometimes, like anxiety comes up and you're like, oh, well, there's a dog running at me and it looks really angry and it's like snarling. I probably should walk away or maybe run a little bit, right? Like it's not we can't make statements that like, well, you can just ignore all thoughts because like that's not
Well, that,
wise either.
I think that makes it even harder. So if in OCD, we're really
Right.
talking about like, okay, well, one of the hardest acceptance things in OCD is the idea that an image or a thought that pops into your head isn't necessarily meaningful, or even if it has meaning because it's important to you, doesn't mean it's actionable, right? Or should be fixated on. Fair, except we have two extremely different messages that we're often handed, which is everything you think is important and everything you feel is important, and you must check in and see what is it telling you. So no, it must be important and actionable. Or on the other
Mhm.
side, you get the very ham-handed, heavy-handed wannabe OCD influencer repeating thoughts are just thoughts. Thoughts are just thoughts. Well, wait a minute, but I was told that my thoughts are really important, and now you're telling me to just dismiss all of them, which then makes it harder to accept the fact that thoughts might be just thoughts. So it's like really sticky. No, that was a long
It
way.
is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so sticky. And actually, I'm so proud to be able to do this right now because I'm never this person. But this is where I know. I'm going to go from cognitive to experiential, guys. It's real. So, because I'm always the one who's like talky and thinky and cognitive, but I think that this is where it's like the fundamental thing that we are accepting is the uneasiness,
That's
Oh,
it.
yes.
right?
Always.
Like
Yes.
that's what's underneath all of it. It's like whatever noise of like, oh my gosh, but it might not be OCD and it might mean I might be this person and this thing might happen. it's like you're scared.
Yeah. Uncomfortable, whatever you call it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right. And what does it feel like? Right? What do you notice in your body? What's happening? You know, can you just open toward those experiences and allow them to be there and move on with your life because you got better things to do?
And
Yeah.
then you have another acceptance challenge now. So not only do I have to accept that my thoughts may be non-actionable in any without a heavy cost, I also have to accept that I might have to be uncomfortable. Wait, you don't fix that? That's another big
Right.
challenge,
Yeah.
right? Wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody likes that part. Like, wait, I have like feeling discomfort is part of the picture, but yeah.
Okay. So now we have another place where acceptance fits in. It's all over the place. Like Lauren, you said it, right? Where's acceptance in OCD treatment? Where isn't it? It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, discomfort's having a moment because Peloton instructors apparently, I heard this on a podcast that I was on this
So it
week.
must be true.
Apparently, Peloton instructors are now talking in their classes that there's no growth without discomfort.
Did they just invent that?
Well, then it must be true.
It must be true. We have to learn how to get better with discomfort.
But then you hear the arguments about like, well, but I shouldn't have to feel this, or it's like there's got to be another way, or like I shouldn't feel it this much because not everybody feels it this
No.
much.
You know what? No one at Peloton. This is the question. Okay, but no, I'm having
What
a
does
really
Peloton
deep
think?
moment. No, I'm
Okay.
having a deep moment. How come people at Peloton, they're like, oh my God, that's life changing. Yes, that's so true. I'm going to work harder. But when we're talking about it just with emotions and our thoughts,
Nope.
we
Mm.
hit that discomfort. Like, no, it shouldn't be like this. I
You
shouldn't.
know, I have a theory on that.
What is it?
It's that we have perceived control over the physical discomfort that we are experiencing in a Peloton class. And here's the thing, we know that if we stop pedaling or we slow up, chances are that the discomfort is going to go away. The problem when it comes to emotions, anxiety, or what have you, is that there is no perceived control over when it ends.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get that.
Yeah. And
So,
people value being skinny and having a good tush.
well,
So they're
there's that,
willing to tolerate
right?
it.
Right. There's also that, right?
Also,
Like
you can
there's
see it. Like, why will people accept discomfort in from Peloton or three dudes on a podcast talking about like doing what is it 75 hard for the eighth time? Yeah, they're all in on that. Everybody loves that. Growth through
bruh.
discomfort. Bruh, that's exactly right.
Bruh.
But I also because those things you can kind of see if I stay and keep pedaling and I do that for 4 weeks in a row. Like I'll see my VO2 max goes up, my body fat goes down.
Mm.
What do
Yes.
you get from acceptance of discomfort in OCD treatment? I don't know, less discomfort, like things become more mundane and less dramatic, but that's not a big payoff. You lose suffering, right? A little bit, but that is
Feel better.
Well,
well, you would think
you
that would be a great thing, right? But it is so gradual and anticlimactic the way how it looks. There's no parade when somebody resists the ritual. It's just
Right, you're not adding something, you're
catching
minusing
and
something.
minusing little by
right.
little by little until one day you
Yes.
just sort of notice like, hey, I haven't thought about that for 2 weeks. When did that happen? It's very
Yeah.
quiet and there's no huge
Right.
emotional payoff. So
Right.
yeah,
And it involves acceptance of a big life truth that nobody likes, which is like the reason that you're not going to like get to some big payoff is that every time it comes up, you're practicing feeling feelings because feelings are never going to go away. Not, and I don't mean that in like in a moment, they
right.
will come, they will go, right? And like, so I'm not saying that somebody has to resign themselves to feeling a certain way forever. Quite the contrary. Like when we let emotions do their own thing, they come, they go, like pretty readily, actually. But I think it's a hard truth to say, like, actually, like, part of being alive means that you will continue to have emotions, including ones that you do not like on a regular basis, right? Like,
Yeah.
people are like,
Yeah.
oh no, it's like you have to like crush their dreams. Oh, but
Yeah.
you kind of have to, otherwise, like,
Okay.
you keep chasing
You
the
convinced
thing.
me.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
That
Um,
Lauren convinced me not to crush everybody's dreams.
oh
I'll get a
dear.
little cynical too. I mean, obstacles toward acceptance and applying acceptance in OCD. Like you're right. We're like in the business of teaching people to do less about their emotions, which is really a hard sell because there's less to sell. I'll be that guy for a second. Like, especially in an environment where everybody has to have something to sell now, it is certainly like the message is like, do less, like just allow a bad feeling, let it pass because they're all transient. See what you can learn from that. That's not very dramatic or glamorous. There's really not a program.
No.
There's no mastermind I could build around that. So like it would be certainly easier to have a whole army of people who want to teach you how to manipulate your emotions and call it personal growth. And then it's really hard to ignore that when the people you see on the screen now are trying to teach you to not do that automatically and compulsively.
Yep, especially when you live in a society that rewards you every time that you productively do something, and
Yep.
you're probably the kind of person, like most of the people that I work with, I can't speak to you guys, but are on the type A side of things, overachiever, right? Like there are a lot of folks, and it's like, I know how to check the boxes. That muscle is so strong. Like I know how to do the thing. I don't know how to not do anything.
Yeah. What else can we say about
Yeah.
acceptance and OCD treatment and where people get? We're in about 30 minutes. So, got anything?
Yeah, I
Any
love how
words of
you thought
wisdom?
we'd have like hard time with
I
20.
know. But can we get 20 minutes out of this? Oh no, we could probably get 2 hours out of this if you let us.
Just do nothing.
Just do nothing. Talk about plugs. Come on.
Oh, good
Why
plug.
don't you
Wow.
just hold the book up to the camera while you say that? I mean, go
Yeah,
all
where's
the
your
way,
book,
right?
Joanna?
Oh, but this is my sample copy.
Oh, all right. But it does say just do nothing. You could be
Oh,
right. I will have
yeah.
all the links to all the stuff, including the books these wonderful people have written in the show notes. So don't worry about that. Um,
Well,
all right.
thanks.
That's it. That's accepted
Yeah.
in OCD treatment, I guess.
It is, it's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's a light switch. I mean, I think it's like we catch glimpses of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's a constant practice. It's like you
Yeah.
have to keep
Yeah.
coming back to it. Like you'll find yourself resisting and then you drop into acceptance and then
Yeah.
you find
Yeah.
the idea, yes, it is hard, but also maybe like leaving people on a bit of an optimistic note is that it's so awesome, right? Like it's freedom.
Mm.
It's hard to do the practice, and also when you are accepting of all of the stuff that you can't control, like there's so much relief in that, and there's so much more to life when you're willing to do that. So like I realized, like, we were talking about the tough sell a lot, but the reality is, like, the reason that we do it is because, like, it opens up your life.
I would agree. And just to add, like, it's exhausting trying to control things that are out of your control.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
It's so hard. So if when we can start in those little moments to accept it, it actually like is like you get those small moments where you're like, oh, it actually is freeing.
Right.
Like I remember with my kids when I realized like I wasn't responsible for their feelings, and like that was quite freeing.
Sure.
Completely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. That's the
Yeah.
best thing about beating your head against the wall is it feels so good when you stop.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, right? Well, like, think about this. Everybody who has OCD is like spending all of this time trying to resolve uncertainty. It is impossible. Like, you are tasking yourself with something that you cannot do.
Yeah.
And so, of course, like the relief in going like, and the terror also, but the relief of like, oh, I don't have to do that anymore.
So then I will layer one last bit of acceptance and OCD on the top of this. It is the acceptance that what you are doing to feel better is pointless. Like you don't have people
Mm,
will often say, like, I don't know, I can't do this another day. Okay, then don't. I mean, I'm not saying if it was that easy, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. We get that. But like the good news is that if you can learn to give up that struggle, you will learn that it was never doing anything except making you feel better in the moment. So accepting that a ritual or a compulsion, be it mental or behavioral, is actually pointless other than immediate relief is
yeah.
that might be acceptance job number one.
And there's grieving when you realize that. And I've seen a lot of people really punish themselves for
Mm,
for so long for engaging in rituals that were pointless. So just like ending with compassion and kindness, that you did it for a reason,
Mm.
Mhm.
It made sense in the moment or for whatever reason, and it no longer makes sense for your current
Or you
context.
made the best decision you could in that
Yeah,
moment. Okay, now you can
sure.
learn to make different ones. That's all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Totally.
So
to always remember that.
well done.
And also if you start I love that so much, so like if you pick it back up again, like don't beat up on yourself then either, because we all
Yeah,
do it.
of course, of course.
Yeah.
I love that.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Cabal is coming to a
There
close.
we will close this
The
meeting.
cabal session.
This communal discussion will now end.
I'm gonna send the smoke up.
Very good. I will come back at the end. We'll wrap this up as I usually do. And if you're wherever you're listening on my website or as a podcast or on YouTube, I will put all of Joanna and Lauren's links and books and websites and social media and all that stuff so you can find them. Thank you guys. It's always great to work with you on this stuff. You're welcome back
So fun.
anytime. Joanna now sets her record for like the 6th appearance or something on the action.
Whoa.
You are literally Joan Rivers on this show. 100%.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I start my second book with a Joan Rivers anecdote.
There you go. Perfect.
Mhm.
Anyway. All right, guys.
I love
I'll come back to wrap it up
that.
in a sec. Thanks for hanging out. And
Thank you
Thanks
guys.
for having us.
let me awkwardly end the recording. So, acceptance in OCD. As with all acceptance and all anxiety disorders, it's hard, right? It is very difficult to put our brains around and stop resisting realities that we do not like and we find distasteful or very uncomfortable or even terrifying. But acceptance is part of OCD. And as Lauren said when she started the discussion in this episode, it's kind of everywhere. It appears everywhere in all the concepts. So just because you're not having panic attacks or you're not afraid of specific symptoms or you're not afraid of driving on the highway doesn't mean that acceptance doesn't appear in OCD treatment. It does, as you can see. If you can take anything out of this, it's that it is an almost universal experience to not want to accept that you have OCD and that OCD is tricking you and kind of goading you into performing theatrical things that feel like they are protecting you, but are actually doing nothing. And Joanna Hardis, I think, said it best at the end when she said, when we accept that and we come to that realization, there is a bit of a period of grief. It's a slap in the face. So I think if there's anything you could take out of today's episode, it would be that. It is very difficult to accept that the rituals and compulsions that you are performing are actually not saving you at all and never have. And if you can get your mind around that and use acceptance there, it could be a big shift in your situation and help you start to move forward in some way, shape, or form. So if you dig this episode and you want to know more about Lauren or Joanna, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I will have their links and everything in the show description. If you're on YouTube, I'll put them in the show notes. If you're on my website right now, reading this or watching on the website, I'll have all their links there. Go check them out. These are respected people that I trust and admire. They are straight shooters. They're not snake oil salesmen. Their messaging is very consistent. It's all evidence-based. They will sound very familiar if you're following along with me, so you should follow along with them too. And of course, as we end the episode, I'm going to ask a favor. If you're on YouTube right now and you dug this video or you really like what you see on my YouTube channel, well, hit the like button, maybe subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload more videos. YouTube doesn't really like mental health content, at least not evidence-based, dry, not glamorous mental health content like what we're producing here on The Anxious Truth. So if you send them those signals by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell, at least they know that somebody cares that people like us are making this sort of content, or else they kind of bury us. I guess that's about it. That's episode 344 in the books. I will be back again in 2 weeks with another episode of The Anxious Truth. I'm not exactly sure what that's going to be, but I'll definitely be here. I have some new guests coming up in future episodes. Kim Quillen is coming back. We're going to talk about some really interesting topics. So come back in 2 weeks. If you want a podcast every week, that would be Disordered. That comes out every Friday. I co-host that with Josh Fletcher. You can go to disordered.fm and check that out. I encourage you to do it. It's a really great podcast. So thanks for listening today or watching today. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you're enjoying what we're doing around here. I'll see you again in 2 weeks or maybe on Friday if you listen to the other podcast. Thanks for hanging out. See you in the next one.